shut up and sit down.
We're going to start recording because I don't want.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I committed the first cardinal rule of doing this.
Hey, you know what? So here's the thing. For me, contesting is a way to get more stations in my logbook.
See, you're doing it now.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're. Yeah.
What? What am I doing?
You're recording. Never mind. We're good.
I'm recording. No, I'm recording, man. Hey.
Yeah, you could easily get DXCC in a weekend. This weekend, you could have gotten DXCC on one band.
Yeah,
easily.
Worked all states.
I don't know if that's easily.
Well, I don't know how.
Well,
I did
better than months.
How many Yankees you got in your yard?
I did 58 countries this weekend.
Yeah.
So that's more than half.
You're halfway there.
Yeah.
You could easily do this in 2 weekends on 2 contest weekends.
Totally. All right, Mike, let's hear from you.
Okay, so lots of good points, and I first want to say that the absolute best antenna that you could use for contesting is the patented, invented by trademarked KG6 HQD speaker wire antenna.
Invented by.
High gain version.
Everyone knows Jerry invented the speaker wire antenna.
Don't forget the hashtags. Hashtag JerryNet, hashtag trademark, all that other stuff we do.
Yeah, I want to run 2KW through that and see what happens to it.
Well, Mike's tried.
What did I try?
Running a lot of power through it. I don't know.
Oh, dude, I run 100 watts through it, no problem. Yeah, no big deal.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
So contesting is a double-edged sword, I suppose, for a lot of people. I love portable, as we all know. So, like, for me, it gets, doing parks on the air, Summits on the air, you get to be the DX. Not a lot of people get to do that. You got to understand, there is, it's hard to believe, but there's a slightly older base of people in ham radio. So not everyone has the luxury or the wherewithal to get out and go portable and be that DX. So contests like this in that regard are a great thing. You've got, everyone's got a waterfall. It was lit up all weekend. You couldn't find a place. So if you want to make contacts or if you want to sit at home and call CQ, contests, if you can find a place to call CQ from, contests are a fantastic thing. I didn't really participate this much this year. I think I only have one contact in the log to Texas. I tried to work Pitcairn. I tried to work that 5 kilo, 0 kilo station. Couldn't get them. I finally heard them on 20 meters tonight, but they were still way down. But the other end of the spectrum is, so it's great for everyone that's at home or can't go portable. The other side of the coin is, well, guys like me and Jerry and Rob to some extent, I know you do some parks on the air, and Johnny Whiskey 5 Kilo Victor, he does a lot of portable. Well, so like last weekend, I and a friend of mine activated 3 parks on the air parks in one day. It was fantastic. But the Jamboree on the air thing was going on. So just that alone made it pretty difficult to find a frequency to call from. It took me probably 10 minutes of just sitting there and, listen, before I could find a couple frequencies to transmit from. So, I would say that overall, everybody's out playing ham radio and we're using the bands, and that's going to be a good thing for the hobby. But for those of us who do portable ops, like I wouldn't have gone out this weekend and done parks on the air because I know that you're just, I probably could have made it work, but it would be easier to just have a couch day like I did yesterday. Yeah. And catch up on some TV shows and YouTube videos. But yeah, I think everything has its place. I understand why people don't like it. But I understand why people do like it. Last year, I know I made quite a few DX contests. And for me, DX is always going to be like the coolest thing in the world. So in that regard, it seems like, it's weird that you don't hear a lot of DX stations just like during the week or whenever. But when a contest is coming on, everybody and their brother comes out, they set up their radios, they put a saltwater field underneath their antennas, and all of a sudden the bands are great. And you hear other DX stations other than Slavko and Yanez and Loro, the guys that I usually hear from Europe and to Detroit anyway. So it's exciting. You hear other stations. So you can't poo it.
Yeah, that brings me to a good point. Everyone who says the HF bands are dead, magically there's this switch that somebody flips that turns the bands on when there's a contest.
Yeah, I did a video last year, I think it was. It was just a short thing. I put my camera in front of my no, it was earlier this year. I put my camera in front of the 7300 like the last minute of the contest, and it was just, it was just all white on the waterfall, and then like a minute after the contest, it was dead. So, contests give
people are tired
to get on the air and have fun. So in that regard, I think they're a great thing. As a portable operator, I just won't go out on those days. So,
I'm into that. I hear you.
Take it as it is, So
yeah.
And
pretty much everybody in this CQ Worldwide contest this weekend was doing 5.9, 5.9, 5.9, 5.9. And I understand, and I don't like doing that. But what I kind of figured out about a little bit in this contest this weekend was you don't get anything for your signal report. I don't even know why they include the signal report
there's no reason.
There's no reason to
the official exchange has to include a signal report, but it's irrelevant.
Right.
That's not the goal. The goal is to make 1 million contacts and give.
Well, they're supposed to also have a minimum of 1 or 2 different exchanged items. But so that's my whole point with the 5.9. It's like, why say it if that's not true? You're not copying exactly what it is. So if you're supposed to say orange 13 or whatever, and you don't come back with orange 13, it's like, what's the point?
That's what I'm saying.
It negates the contest. It's
right. There's no point.
We're just taking a shortcut.
They should take the signal report out. They should give your call sign your zone. That's it.
This is why I really like the NAQP contest, because it doesn't have signal report. It's just your name and your location. Like
which one did you say, Sterling? I'm sorry.
NAQP, North American QSO Party.
Okay.
So it's like a state QSO party, but all the states. And it's cool because a lot of club stations will come up with a random name, and sometimes it'll be crazy long. Or sometimes instead of, I don't know, Jason, it'll be Ed or Bob or Joe, like just the shortest you can get, because especially in CW. But then you get the one that's like
Maximilian.
Alvider Heimerschmidt.
Nebuchadnezzar.
There's a lot of contests. Yeah, I hate the 5.9. You're a 5.9. You're a 5.9.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a 5.9.
It's just so that you can make the contact, right? It's just they need 2 parts of a contact. There are some exchanges that are more difficult, but generally that's what it is 2
and
parts.
Actually,
to it,
even
right?
from a contesting but a scorer's perspective, I'm surprised it hasn't been changed, because that's a part of the check log. Like, that's a part of the way that you verify your logs, is you have these unique sources of, basically back and forth. And if everybody has a 5.9, you remove one of those things that proves that you made a contact with a person. So it's like, even from that perspective, we shouldn't have it.
It's like a workaround. Everybody's worked around the report by just saying 5.9.
Yeah.
And that's all it is, really, is they're just working around the difficulty of the contact by everybody. Oh, no, I know it's a 5.9. Even if they didn't hear it, right?
Well, and the thing is, I had several times this week, and I finally just started giving 5.9s because that's what the point of the point of CQ Worldwide is to make as many zone contacts as you can. You get no points if you're 5.9 or 5.7 or 4.4. It doesn't change your score at all. So that's why everybody gets a 5.9. I think it's a dumb. I think they should just remove it, is what I think. But after the thing I was talking about with these guys here that are in Costa Rica with me is, like, I would go to this guy and he'd be calling CQ on this channel, and I'd go back to him and I'd say, and my call sign is Tango India 7 stroke Kilo Charlie 5 Hotel Whiskey Bravo. Well, that's a really long call sign. Okay, so I'd go back to him and he'd say, Tango India 7 Kilo. I'd say my call sign again, Tango India 7 5 what? And I'd give it to him like 7 times. And he'd be like, okay, I got it. And he'd read it back to me correctly. And he'd be like, okay, you're 5.9. I'm like, no, I'm not, because I gave you my call sign 7 freaking times.
Again.
Again, yeah.
Again,
on, man.
5.9.
So
Bob, going back to what
Like
Bob
check
said
raise.
about trying to be good on the copy and learning something from these contests, and it makes you a better operator and you know how to log efficiently. Just imagine if it was a requirement and both logs needed to match on both sides, and you actually had to give a true signal report and copy a give and get signal report on the other side. Oh my gosh, the ham radio world would flip out. Everybody gets all these hundreds of contacts would whoop, just like that, and we wouldn't have all these great, awesome operators out there anymore all of a sudden. So that's my point.
If you want to do a contest like that, check out OMIS.
Oh, I've done OMIS before.
Yeah, OMIS. That is real. Those are real contacts.
Yeah.
And I mean, everything is good up to a 2-1.
Yeah, and they'll spend like 30 seconds, 2, 1, 20, 1, 2, and then they'll
that's a real contact.
giving out the.
I think that would be a good subject for a contest, is to have something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it.
At a certain point, it doesn't really matter, right? At a certain point, it doesn't really matter. Of course, you can have a more difficult exchange. There's lots of them that exist. There's contests that exist that are very difficult exchanges, and that's cool because you
like sweepstakes, for example, right? Because you have check precedence, like all those things,
right? And that's great. There can be just high-speed, low-drag contests like this one, where it's just your zone, and everybody goes 5-9. So it's really one part of the contact. That's it. So it's like literally high speed. It's hard enough already in the low sun cycle to make a lot of these big country long-distance contacts anyway. So I don't see a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
No problem with the 5959. Is that what you're saying, Josh?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I'm down with it removing it. I'm down with them removing it.
I'm down with removing it.
I don't have a problem with the 5-9 because they're just working around a rule. So people work around things when they're not important. The people are saying it's not important, and there's the lawmakers haven't caught up to it.
Right.
So if everybody's saying 5-9, just get rid of it and just give the CQ zone and your call sign and be done with it. No problem. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, the signal
I don't
report
either.
is pretty irrelevant in a lot of these contests. So I agree with you, Josh.
Yeah,
I'd say we start a revolution and just don't give out a signal report, even though it's an exchange. Just assume 5-9 and see how many people
signal report.
How many people are going to be like, "What's my signal report?" It's like, "What do you think it is, buddy?"
Yeah, let's give out zip code, something that's so unique and so narrow to where you're at that could be verified. That would be better.
That's actually
something. I like. Well, that's only going to really work around here. Maybe I don't know. Postal codes in where you're at there, Jason. You got a postal code? Same amount of numbers, like five digits or something.
It's not 5. Well, that's a big ass spider on the floor right there. There's a postal code here. I don't know what it is, but it's like the weird South American type postal code.
At least 5 digits. So everybody in the world should be about 5 digits, right? So 5-digit zip code. Go there. How about that?
Yeah.
We can do social security numbers and mother's maiden name.
Oh, there you go. I like
exchange.
Yeah.
Why don't you just give out a 1-1 and let somebody squirm on the other end?
Oh, they'll just write down 5-9. So what's the point?
Well,
And you'll really make the log checkers job really mad if you gave a 1-1 and then they actually wrote a 5-9. They would be like, "Well, that's a busted call."
Yeah, they'll just dump
throw
it.
your log away.
Okay, yeah. Who's really checking those though? That's my whole point. Nobody checks it. It's worthless.
Yeah.
Right. That's
pretty
sure. If I joined a contest and I entered my call sign and my zip code as my qualifier, then if they wanted to put that in some database thing, like what was that, like the QRZ one or the Logbook of the World, and they were able to cross-check that for that contest. If you uploaded like a CSV, then boom, I know that when I contacted Josh, I put his zip code down, it would sort and match and done.
So I'm curious.
It's not a bad idea.
We don't have any OMs in the room or people that have been doing contests for a long time. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm curious if you went back 50 years, was the contact purely signal report and they adhered to it to the letter? Like, is this just a vestige of time that we're just carrying on? Is it something that people did really religiously in the past, but we've kind of been all like, why are we really doing it? Like, I don't know. Like, I'd be curious about that. That's something we should ask Tom, actually. W5K.
That's a good question for Tom, I think.
Yeah.
That's a great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Jerry and I are saying the same thing, just from different directions, because I'm like, hey, if you're not going to do the signal report, is irrelevant as far as your score goes. So just remove it. And he's like, hey, it's irrelevant, so you should give it. And I'm like, well, yeah, kind of yes and no. I mean, I guess I don't like giving 5-9s all the time. I really don't. But I did it this weekend because at the end of the day, you give the call sign and the CQ zone, and however many CQ zones you had, different CQ zones. That's what your score's from. The 5.9 is irrelevant. So
if they started testing you on how good your signal report was, there it is. Actually, is like how if we could prove somehow, like if we could dump something off the radio that actually said like, oh no, you were an S. An S5, S9, whatever. But nobody's really going to go to that level of detail, right? That'd be the only way to really prove it.
Signal reports are pretty. Signal reports are pretty kind of abstract, if you will. You give someone a 5.5, they might not be peaking 5 on your meter, but if you can hear them, so they're pretty subjective. And I do want to say I don't want to start logging people's zip codes, though. I'm a big
well, you think about it, 5959. If you do that, that's 4. You're only adding one more digit.
Yeah, but
numerical 5959.
There's 10 digits though that you got to hear. So screw that.
Just everybody get a PO box.
I guess the purity of the contact doesn't matter at that point, right? If once you have the call sign in the CQ zone, it doesn't matter that you add the signal report onto the pile. You've technically already got all the parts you need. We're just doing it because you need two plus call sign, right? That's really what's happening, right? Am I wrong? I don't know.
No, I think you're right. It's like I think in the SOTA rules, I think it's supposed to be 3 things. That's why it's the summit ID or maybe your name or your call sign, of course, call sign exchange. So you got 3 things. No defined things of what they are, but you have 3 things, especially when you just give the SOTA Summit ID, which you can also find online when they're on the Summit. So whatever.
I will say SOTA's a little gentlemanly when it comes to a lot of things. Like it's a lot of a gentleman's agreement type of stuff that like you make the contact you say you did.
We have to understand what truly defines a contact, though. So the ARRL for Logbook of the World has their set. For Parks on the Air, you just need a call sign. It doesn't matter.
And look at how many different contests there are out there. It's different for every contest, and I think it's a good thing. I think that's a good thing.
To talk about 5.9, you
can't just make a blanket
relevant
statement.
Sometimes, but it's not others. So like, who cares what 5.9 is? If you're CQ Zone 8 or CQ Zone 7 or whatever, that's the exchange. That's what you got to communicate. So
and a number of other contests, they use a serial number, which is very unique. Like that's something that you can't spoof at all. But a lot of contests don't have that because you got to read off a 3-digit number, and
but that's the thing. It's a different contest. Contest. So to just make a blanket statement that saying 5.9 is irrelevant. Well. It would be cool if everybody actually gave a real signal report.
Well, yeah, but if you can pro game your way out of it and just say 5.9, then it's irrelevant.
Control that. You can't. There's no way. Your radio doesn't say this signal is 3.3 or whatever. It's you hear it, you see it. A lot of times when I'm doing Parks on the Air, like I just do it and I'm like, well, he's kind of 5.7, and I'll look at the meter. Oh yeah, he's peaking about 7. So you kind of get used to where they are, but. Like I log everything 5.9 in my Parks on the Air. I give real signal reports. I said this last time. I give real signal reports. People give them to me because I want to know what it is. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I got his call sign and he's in the log. So
I do the same thing, Mike.
Yeah, who cares?
Hey,
you know what? On my SOTA stuff,
guys. Hey, time out. Let's let Rob talk.
Yeah, where's Rob?
Let Rob talk. He's the new guy. Rob, don't be afraid to talk to these guys. The first time Jerry was here, he kind of took control. He's a very so.
No, it's okay. Like I told you before, I'm more of a listener.
So don't be afraid to speak up.
No, like I said before, I'm more of a listener anyway. I'm just kind of listening in and everything. So no worries there. I'll jump in when I want to.
All right, that's cool. All right, I just didn't want to leave you out, man.
No, you're not leaving me out.
Okay, cool.
Jason, I have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Thing is that you are on a DXpedition. I know a lot of times DXpeditions, Pitcairn and all the big ones, there are a lot of 5.9 across the board because you guys are banging out, 20,000 queues in 5 or 6 days that you're there. What are you guys doing for the rest of your stay there?
One of the guys goes home tomorrow, and Jim and I, we go home on Tuesday, so we're at the end of our stay pretty much. Prior to the contest this weekend, we were given true signal reports. Nice. And this DXpedition is a little bit more first world problems than going to an island that doesn't have electricity, as it were. So, we have really nice villas here. We have internet, obviously. We have 2 towers here that we keep, and a bunch of feed lines and a bunch of coax and a bunch of power supplies that they allow us to keep here year round, so we don't have to carry it down with us every time. So we're a little bit cheating. We're a little bit cheating on this DXpedition. It's not a rugged, roughing it, sleeping in tents type of DXpedition. That's not what we're doing here. But there's
we're drinking hooch.
no, Jim says we're drinking bourbon is what we're mostly doing, which is not untrue. But the cool thing is there's very few operators in Costa Rica. They have TI-7 and TI-5 and TI-3, I think, and maybe a few more than that. But for people to hear a Costa Rica contact on the air, they usually, the first year I came here, it was like 2 or 3 days into, we usually come for about 7 days. It was like 2 or 3 days into it. And there was 5 or 6 operators that time. And everybody wanted to go hiking up the volcano, which sounded really fun, but I'm being that I'm really freaking lazy. I was like, I don't want to go do that. You guys go ahead. So I had the entire villa to myself, with all the radios to myself, with all the antennas to myself. I used my own radio. Literally, I'm not joking with this. I sat down at a table right over there in this room, and I got on 15 meters, and I worked pileups for literally 12 hours. Boom. I got up to pee every now and then, but that was about it.
That's
and
nuts.
by the
For
end of
you,
the
that's
day,
awesome.
I had a few of these in me, but that's about it. I mean, I was like, by the end of the day, but 12-hour pileups, man. I made 1,100 contacts that day. It was
That is
crazy.
awesome.
And I fell in love with DXpeditions, and I fell in love with coming down here all the time. So the guys on Pitcairn Island are much more rare than we are, but they're roughing it a lot more than we are too. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, we're sleeping in tents and setting up and carrying towers down in the plane with us. We don't do that kind of stuff. So, but we give real signal up until yesterday when the contest started. We were given real signal reports. Yes.
Hey, question for you, Josh. Jason, while you're there.
Yeah.
What do the locals there say about the whole 5.9 thing? I mean, they're running K-dubs everywhere around there, but have you had any of this conversation with anybody down there on this topic?
No, in fact, the whole time, like I said, there's not very many operators down here. This trip, we've been here for today's Sunday. We got here on Tuesday, so we've been here for like 5-6 days. I've only heard one other Costa Rica station, TI-7W. And Jim talked to him earlier, and he said, "Hey, where are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm a little bit east of you guys. I'm looking west at you." And he's a resident. But that's the only other Costa Rica station we've heard the whole time we've been down here. And generally speaking, we don't hear people who are down here. There's just not very many hams in this country.
Wow.
So, which is one reason why we can work pileups all day long. It's fun, though. It's really, really, really fun.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to make a point about, actually Josh brought it up earlier, about the cost and actually being competitive. So like, if you want to talk about that, like what a contest is for is to be the very best, to get all the, contacts, as many or more than the next guy. Right. But to actually do that, you have to have kind of a major station. There's categories, like you have like rookie, you have wires, but like for the most part, overall, the people who are winning have like towers upon towers, have multi-operator, this and that and the other thing, or they're, at a rare entity like in Costa Rica or Pitcairn or whatever. But the average Joe, Jerry, or Jason, or everyone on here, isn't going to have that kind of station at their place, and it's going to cost a lot to get to that point.
For me personally, I care much more about worked all states, worked all zones, DXCC, and that kind of stuff than I do about winning I'm never going to win a contest. I don't have the money to win a contest, and that's okay. Right. I don't care. I care much more about Jim over here has all but one entity of the entire world.
Yeah.
Did you get the last entity?
No,
that's nuts.
North Korea. He hasn't got North Korea. He's got everything in the world except North Korea.
Good grief. That's nuts.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's more impressive to
on
me
the
than
air.
winning a contest.
That's a good point. Like you don't necessarily need to like go into contest thinking, oh well, I'm going to lose, so why even bother? Like there's still like
right.
Kyle said earlier, you can make DXCC in a matter of hours.
But you need to be realistic. Go ahead, Kyle. Was it Kyle? Go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick point. So there is a company out there that they have formed a company. I'm not going to talk about them, but they went out and bought property in the northern part of Maine because they were tired of losing contests. And they did I think people know who I'm talking about. And they did a presentation in Huntsville, and I sat down with the guy that was one of the founders, and he told, I forgot what the dollar amount was, but it was astronomical on after getting the property, setting up the remote station, setting up the station here, I think it's Southern Tennessee where they sit, and all of the remote and the towers and this and that. I mean, they just did it to be competitive. And that's unfortunately what some people have to go to be competitive. And that's what Sterling made a good point. That's what I like about NAQP. It's all 100 watts.
Mm-hmm.
But that's cost, though, right? I mean, they're putting down some serious cash to be able to do that for something that doesn't make money technically, right? They're contesting. They're just that competitive. It's like the high-end drag, and Bob's going to take off right now, but high-end drag racing, right? People really don't make that much money, right? They're doing it for the love of it. And so you're dealing with those kind of mindsets when you go out there to contest.
There's different sections, and you've got the people that have hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on a contest station, and then there's everyone else where we put in $3,000, and that is a lot of money to put into a station.
What do you really win from a contest? I don't even, honestly, no idea what you win other than bragging rights.
Bragging rights.
You dump all that money literally for a plaque? I mean, seriously?
Yes.
This is my $100,000 plaque.
All right, so Jerry, I'll throw this back at you. What do you get for being a soda goat?
So for the soda thing, that is a personal contest.
Okay.
Like I said earlier in the beginning, it's a contest within. It is a personal goal only, and I tout that through my whole channel and all my videos. Like, hey, this is a personal goal. I'm even taking it a stretch further. I'm going to unique peaks every single time. I'm not visiting the same peak until I get there. And I have to buy my own little ice award once I get there. Once I get to the 1,000 points. So for me, I knew starting this that it was all about me.
Okay, but I'll make a point of contests can be personal too.
Sure.
I
guess I was making the connection with the amount of money. I'm thinking, wait a minute, am I missing something here? Are people actually like the bill fishers? People go out there and they hook up on these big fish and they're winning big jackpots. I'm like, is there something like that for ham radio? And I just did not know that. That's why I was asking, because when you're talking about the amount of money, you had me wondering.
It can't be. It's amateur radio. We can't be doing big prizes. Come on.
97.113, the pecuniary interest rule. So but that's you don't let those.
That's just over the air, though. You can have a monetary prize, I'm sure.
Well, even the guys at WRTC. So you have the World Radio Sport Team Championship, which is the big kahuna Major League Olympics of ham radio. And they don't get paid. Like they get a lot of, they get sponsored, they get a station to work, they probably get their airfare taken care of, whatever. But there's no cash purse or whatever.
It's all about the competition. In Missouri QSO Party, we compete against another expedition station, and Sterling's been on my team before. You wouldn't believe all of the rigmarole and the morale boosting and the team building that we do before we go out to beat these guys.
Yeah.
And that is the goal of the weekend. The goal is to beat the other expedition station. And we're talking trash. We're trying to get the best antenna. We're literally, trimming feet off the coax to make sure that we've got, one more watt going out of the antenna. It's addictive. It's fun. And when you lose, it sucks.
Yeah.
You're stealing their mascot.
Well, I do like talking trash. I'm down with the talking trash part. We're good there.
I've noticed that.
Kyle, they didn't work K at MRD at the park last week, and you did when you were in those.
That's right. Yeah.
Three, whatever the heck you were doing in those three.
Illinois QSO.
Yeah, but you were in three different.
I was in three different counties.
Counties, yeah, that's the word.
Right. I was on a 3-county line.
Yep. Yeah, so you won right there because you got me, and I was in a park.
So regarding costs, costs. No, go ahead.
Oh, well, I guess what I was going to say is, with the contesting and spending all the money, it is a personal goal, whether you're spending the money or you're not. But same thing for the guy that's not contesting. Say he just builds a QRP kit or even designs his own thing, throws a wire up, makes 2 contacts. That's a personal goal for him too. And he's not technically contesting. And that's kind of where I come from. I get all this stuff working and I'm happy. And that's good enough for me.
The thing I was going to say is, so consider the cost of how much people are spending, right? $3,000, right? What was it? Kyle, you said that, I think. So realistically, I think, and maybe you guys can change my mind on this, but if you're generally running like 100 watts out of your radio to whatever antenna, you're going to be searching and pouncing kind of thing. That's going to be your life in a contest.
You're going to let the big guns like make up that difference.
Right. So if you're looking to get into contesting, that's going to be your world. Your world is going to be a radio, possibly something with a waterfall that you have to look at to see where the signals are coming from, diving in, clicking on that thing or whatever you do, getting on that, and then working that pile up for that station to get that contact. And you're going to do that over and over again. That's going to kind of be what contesting's like. It's only when you start, like if you've got a bigger plot of land that you can put up some towers, get some power behind it, where you can actually sit on a frequency and call CQ. I think. Is that a safe assumption for a lot of people of what they've experienced?
Yeah. With one exception, with a couple maybe, is the cost offsetters. I would say, like with remote operating, like with remote ham radio or remote hams, like that sort of thing, or guest operating, which is what Jason's doing right now, right?
Or just a unique call sign. Yeah. Just a unique zone, as it were, in the contest this weekend, because I worked 2 or 3 other stations that were we were zone 7. I worked 2 or 3 other stations that were zone 7, but there was a heck of a lot more zones 3, 4, and 5 than there was zone 7.
Yeah.
So we had a very unique zone, and we were all running 100 watts.
Mm-hmm. But then you have
but you had to fly down there and carry all your stuff and do that whole thing, right? So,
That's true.
There's still a cost, right?
Oh, so there's always a cost.
I have this thing going on. Actually, it's already been done. So Youngsters on the Air in the Europe, they have the youth contesting program. And some of you might have heard of or seen Team Exuberance, and it's kind of the same sort of idea where they took a bunch of young people and took them to K3LR to be that mega station. And I'm working on a program with the YARC, the Young Amateurs Radio Club, YCP, where it's a smaller scale. Like if a person like, I don't know, Ward Silver, who has a little house in Steelville, or even Kyle with the remote station, or anybody with a modest, I would say, contesting grade station, but not like a super big gun. If they want to open their doors up for like people to guest stop, then that's like a huge cost savings to you. It gets a butt in the chair for them if you're using their call sign, that sort of thing, like a mutually beneficial. And you get to actually call CQ for a change, for free, or just the cost of transporting and beer.
2 things about that. You mentioned K3LR. Number 1, we worked him this weekend on 2 bands.
Yeah.
Number 2, Jim was over here working a pile up, and K3LR was calling the pile up at the same time Jim was, and Jim beat him out on 100 watts of wire.
Nice.
Ooh.
Those are fighting words.
He took off his headphones. Guess what just happened?
You don't necessarily need all the power, man. You can do a lot with 100 watts in a wire.
Yeah, and Tim's a cool dude. I've met Tim. He's a cool dude. But yeah,
you can do a lot with 100 watts in a wire, but you got to set your expectations correctly. I think.
Yes,
you really do. There will be
situations.
Yeah, there are situations where you will win and you'll have that headphone off moment, but like ham radio can be really expensive, and contesting to me is the upper end race car level of ham radio. Like you are spending serious coin to be able to compete at that level. And you got to have a geographic location that is commensurate to be able to work those contacts and do all that stuff. There's a whole lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
And every time it's pull out another 100, right? When it's a regular just going portable station, it's like pull out an extra 1,000 when you're talking about like a real contest station. Yeah. So keep that in mind. Like set your expectations.
If you're sitting there calling CQ, so the old adage is if you can hear them, they can hear you. So if I actually had the wherewithal to sit at my station and push my little record button and say CQ, K at MRD, zone 8 or wherever I am, I would still make a crap ton of contacts because there's so many people out there. Like all those contest big stations, I'm sure they're not calling CQ a million times. They're probably hunting and pouncing too. And my 100 watts is going to get out there, not as much as 1,500, but and keep in mind, not every country can use 1,500 watts. You know, like England, I think their max is like 400 watts. So, you know, there's different laws in different countries. So if you just got on the air and started calling CQ in a contest, you would probably have gangbusters. I mean, Jason, you're doing 100 watts, aren't you?
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
you
We
know,
do 100 watts all week.
you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, spend
Mhm.
you know how much is the 891? $600 or something, and you can spend $30 on some 14 gauge wire and make a fan dipole, and or spend $3. Excuse me, make the KG6 HQD speaker wire. I swear to God, you will get out on that antenna. So it doesn't. You know, it's all about propagation. It's not necessarily the big watts and the $12,000 ICOM 7851 or the Flex radios. You know, you can do a lot with. There's my Yaesu 450. That was the first HF radio I got, and I've worked all over the world on that radio.
Man,
So,
the first 2 times I came down here, I had an ICOM 706 Mark II-G.
yeah. See, there you
That was
go.
it.
And you had
I mean-
the 891, I believe, because I watched your video on it.
Yeah, I had it that. Yeah, I had it that time. Yeah,
So-
100 watts is 100 watts. It doesn't matter if
Doesn't
it's coming out of
matter.
a Flex or an
Throw
Electrap.
RF out, and you're gonna make
Yeah.
contacts. That's the bottom line.
So I got a quick point
Whether
to
it's
make
from
with
all
that.
the way around the world, or
Mhm.
whether it's from 500 or 1,000 miles away,
Right.
you're still working a pile up. So who cares? You know,
Yeah.
have fun. It's ham radio.
Hey guys, we're just about out of time here, so we don't want to make the video too long. So I think this has been a really good topic. Everyone had a lot of good stuff to say. Maybe we'll do another episode along these lines after the next contest. There's actually an FT8 contest.
Oh my
That'll
goodness.
get a lot of haters.
There's next month. There's an FT8. Where's my book? I think it's like yeah.
FT8's not real ham radio.
You're literally going to see people full 1.5 full
Totally,
power
yeah,
going
totally
into
will,
FT8.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've
I'm
got
not
it written
kidding.
down here somewhere.
If
There's
the
an
PSK contest were anything, yeah.
FT8 roundup on December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day.
Oh,
So I'm gonna look into that. So let me do a closing segment real here, and then you guys join back, and we'll talk about next time. So
have less
thanks
than a
for,
minute.
yeah, I know. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked this segment, put your comments below. Tell us what we should talk about next time. We're probably going to do another AWRL episode, a follow-up to the last one. And we appreciate y'all watching. The links to everyone's channel is in the YouTube description below. And we hope that you subscribe to everyone here, 73 and Good DX.